Welcome back to Studio F on Fast Times Willy B. We'll be reviewing Red One. Gentlemen, let's broaden our minds.
Russell!
Welcome back to Fast Times Willy B. I'm Willy B. I got Rosie back. Rosie, how we doing?
Pretty good, how are you?
Doing well. So today we'll be reviewing Red One, the newest Christmas film to hit theaters. Directed by Jake Kasdan. He's done a few movies that a lot of people would recognize. He's done Sex Tape. He did Bad Teacher with Cameron Diaz. He did the Jumanji movies, the newer two.
Okay.
So he has a little bit of a resume when it comes to comedy.
Okay.
I would say all four movies that you either love or you hate.
That's true.
But nonetheless, he's in the director's chair for this one, and he has Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson to his disposal, as he does in a few of those other movies I talked about. We've got Chris Evans in this one as well. We've got Nick Kroll, we've got Kieran Shipka, we've got J.K. Simmons playing a buff Santa Claus, we got Bonnie Hunt playing Mrs. Claus. Stacked cast.
Lucy Liu
playing basically the supervisor agent of the North Pole. We'll start with the good. And for me, this category is very brief. But for you, I feel like you might have more to say. The good. There's not a lot for me.
Okay.
What do you got? Well, you start with the good.
Okay.
I would say the cast.
Oh, yeah.
That's the big one.
Yes,
I mean,
of course.
the casting was done well. You know what you're going to get from most of these people.
Yeah. They have a pretty big resume, all of them. Mostly. The biggest thing, I think, and the good for me is, it might be an unpopular opinion, but I like the story.
Okay.
I just think it's something that I don't know if it's been done or not, but it's something new to me, at least. I liked getting a little, like, side characters, like Krampus, how they introduced him as Santa Claus's stepbrother. I really liked, I don't know, I just liked the story. It was...
I can get behind some of the lore. Maybe I would have liked a little deeper dive in some of it.
Okay.
But I do like that we got more than just your Santa Claus elves. And, we have Krampus, we have the Winter Witch. So, that was cool to see.
Yeah. I also liked, going off with the characters. I like that it wasn't all, like, normal Christmas movies. You see the elves, and they're usually, like...
just small humans.
So, getting to see, like, humans, well, not really humans, but, like, elves. Yeah. They're not really human, but you know what I mean. And then you actually get, like a mythological, like, what you would think of, like, when you think of the word elf.
Yeah.
Like, this short little guy with pointy ears. I thought they were really cute, but nonetheless.
Yeah.
I also liked how they, added, like... Oh, what was his name? Garcia, the huge polar bear. I liked him. And, like, some of the other, like... They weren't all just, like...
characters.
Human...
Yeah.
Looking. Like, they had some dimension, I think.
Something else I put in the good is there's some fun gadgets that we get to see here, like the arm thing that allows him to shrink and make things big.
Yeah, I like that.
Chris Evans just looking for a Wonder Woman action figure. Can't blame the guy. Chris Evans, I'd put in the good. I think any of the jokes that I did laugh at usually came from him. I think his delivery was probably the best we got in the movie. I feel like he didn't take the role too seriously like some other people might have. I think you know who I'm talking about. It's just, it's a movie that shouldn't be taken serious, and I think Chris Evans, he does the best with what he's given.
Yeah.
Which isn't much, but he did provide me a few laughs, so I'd throw Chris Evans in the good for sure. That's probably about it for me.
Okay. I also would like to mention that I've mentioned a few times on here that I like when stories make a full circle moment. And at the beginning, when Chris Evans' character is a child and he says, I can find anybody and anything that normal people can't, or whatever the quote may be.
Yeah.
I like that he says that as a grown-up. And then I like that The Rock's character was able to then see him as a child and, like, recognize him. So
I didn't love that just because I felt like it was very, very forced and predictable.
Oh.
I like when something like that surprises me. But that intro scene that we got made this movie really predictable, I think.
Okay.
From the intro, you could get, okay, he can find anything and everything. And you've seen the trailer, so you know he does something where he's, you know, mischievous. Mm-hmm. He has daddy issues, so he's probably going to have son issues. And he's on the naughty list, so he's going to become nice. There's just a lot of things, from that intro, I'm like, okay, they're giving his character arc away before this movie even starts.
Interesting.
And that's how I looked at it.
Okay.
But yeah, I really don't have anything else in the good.
Okay.
Unfortunately. Do you have other things in the good? Because you're allowed to. You're allowed to like this movie just because I don't.
I'm not sure. I'll think about them and I might throw it in final thought.
So hop over to our meh then. I would say
you should put the story in the meh.
I'd put the story in the meh because there were elements of the story I did enjoy. Mm-hmm. I didn't hate the story. There were things that were new to the table, but there was a lot of things that were just, you know, reruns of plot points we've gotten before. But for, you know, it did enough to make itself a little bit different. Mm-hmm. Also in the meh, I mean, the story's the big one in the meh. I have a lot of things in the bad. This is probably where I'd put the rest of the characters. Or I should say, I guess, the acting.
Okay.
I don't know. I feel like there was a lot of acting that was taking it too serious when this movie didn't have a serious bone in its body.
Okay.
Especially The Rock. I mean, it's just The Rock being The Rock once again.
Yeah, that's very true.
It's almost getting tired, you know. I don't know. Another thing I'd put in the meh is it was very predictable. Mm-hmm. I would say it was boring at times. It had a really slow start that I picked up, and then it would slow down again, then it'd pick up really quickly.
I can see
the pacing was pretty meh. Like the third act, we get to it, and I was kind of excited to see this final battle, and the final battle lasted about 3.5 minutes, if that.
I can see how you feel that way. Yeah. For sure.
Other things in the meh, it didn't have the charm that I feel like most Christmas movies do. I don't like Buff Santa, although J.K. Simmons is, you know, an idol of mine. Santa's fat and jolly. He's not doing 500 push-ups in 10 minutes. Come on.
That's so true. Not 5 minutes. 500 push-ups in 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's right. I don't know, just lack the charm I feel like a Christmas movie should have. And I get it, it's a special agent Christmas movie, so it's going to be a little, you know, heavier, I guess. I don't know, I just think it took itself too serious sometimes, and a part of that was our lead role, unfortunately.
Yeah, I can understand the...
And I'm not a Rock hater, by the way.
Yes, I know.
I do like The Rock, I just...
Yeah.
I don't know, I wasn't
That's fair.
big on this one.
I can agree with... like the version of Santa that we get. Mm-hmm. I kind of like this one because they mention like how like athletic he is, and because he has to do, I think it was proving that like he has to stay fit because he does all this activity in one night. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that kind of made a little bit of sense. But like when you think of Santa Claus, it's definitely, we're not thinking about Santa having a gym. Yeah. In his workshop, that's for sure. For sure. So I can get behind a lot of things you're saying. I can see the pacing issues that you see. So I don't disagree with any of your mehs. So
we'll hop over to the bad.
Okay.
And this is where I have some stuff too. CGI was pretty bad.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of it. I think, you know... All the animals were CGI. The snowmen were CGI. They didn't look great.
I think the only animal that looked good was the polar bear.
Probably.
Garcia. He looked really good, I thought.
The reindeer looked bad. Some of the fight sequences we get looked horrible due to CGI.
Yeah.
The VFX were just really bad in this movie. A little montage we get at the end of Santa doing his thing didn't look good either, with him doing front flips and stuff into the... It was just, you could tell that it wasn't real. And my biggest comparison is you have the Santa Claus in 1994, which is just this movie. Obviously, a lot of that's practical. I mean, they built the North Pole and all of that, but that movie came out 30 years ago and looks leaps and bounds better than this movie did. It had way more charm. The North Pole is almost very factory-like in this one, which is one of my knocks on the Polar Express. And
Could see that.
The North Pole, the little bit we get to see of it, I didn't think looked good. So CGI is my big bad. I think they used too much of it and didn't do it well enough.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with you on that one.
I think it took away from the movie. I did not like Nick Kroll's scene where he's taken over by Grilla, the Winter Witch.
Yeah,
I just thought that was over the top. A lot of the comedy doesn't land for me. Like I said, Chris Evans is pretty funny at times, but the rest of it's pretty... I mean, it's for kids. It's when you're 25.
Although there's a lot of...
There is, but a lot of... I mean, when you're 25, these jokes just aren't funny.
Yeah.
Other bads... The pacing almost borderline is bad for me just because it isn't consistent by any means. I'd put the music in here... I'd maybe say more on the meh for the music, but nonetheless, it's very uninspiring and forgettable. I feel like one of the biggest things with Christmas movies is the music.
Yeah, I agree.
This one has a very forgettable score. The only thing you'll remember is the commercialized music that you've been listening to every Christmas for the past, entire life.
Right.
But yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good bit in the bad for me.
Yeah. I think we talked about it prior about the CGI and how we didn't like the Winter Witch scene where, what's his name?
She took over Nick Kroll. I like Karen Shipka in the Winter Witch.
Same. I don't
like her final form.
I mean, she was a 300-foot
I know.
ogre.
I don't know.
I don't know. But I feel like that scene where she's like possessing him almost could have gone better because like I just didn't. It seemed like I don't know what the word even is to use. Like it felt like he was like mocking, which I hate.
Yeah.
I think I would have liked it more if like he was actually standing straight up.
Yeah.
Rather than at an angle, which I thought was strange. And like had like a more like menacing look on his face because what she's saying is like more menacing. So I can agree with that. I was so excited for that scene to be over, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And then we get the snowman coming out of the...
I also didn't like that the way to kill them was the nose taking off. I'm like...
That was a little anticlimactic.
Yeah.
I didn't like how the snowman just like emerged out of an ice cream truck from the middle of the ocean. That didn't make any sense. I understand them being in an ice cream truck because snowman. I get it.
Well, the witch sent it there, so I get that.
I didn't like. I don't know.
I didn't like to.
Or were they Aruba? I didn't like.
Speaking of CGI, the fight scene where he takes down the goons guarding Nick Kroll wasn't done very well either.
Yeah. I think a lot of those like montage scenes were, expect the one in the house, as well, and like the first act, I don't know, I think it was, there was another movie this year that had a lot better montage scene like that. I'm not gonna name any names, but you might know what I'm talking about.
No.
Okay,
that's fair. There was. Surprisingly, not the worst CGI I've seen this year. When you're talking about other movies that come out this year, but we're not going to talk about Madam Web. I mean, this is better than Madam Web.
All right.
But is there anything else in the bad for you?
I think we got them all that at least that I can think of at the moment.
So I'll hop over to our final thoughts and ratings. What do you want to leave off with, Red One, and what do you give it out of 10?
This is like the I just have stopped watching trailers to movies. I just go because I feel like sometimes trailers just give it away, and I think that's probably why I didn't like because you mentioned about like how they gave away like his whole plot. Yes, by like the beginning and the intro. So I think like by me not watching the trailer to most movies, it doesn't give that away. So it's like an element of surprise when I get in there to the theater to see the movie.
Yeah, but I see every trailer when
yeah, that's true.
You go to every movie that ever comes out.
Yeah, I usually don't watch. I like the element of surprise most times. I can understand where people are coming from when they do. I've seen some of the critics' scores and some of the audience scores and such, and I can see where they're coming from. Definitely, a fun movie for a child, I would say, someone a little younger than us. But I don't think I'm upset that we've seen it. The first Christmas movie of the year.
I'm glad it was free tickets.
Oh.
I had 2 free tickets.
All right, well then there you go. Well, we didn't really lose out on anything, except for the $10 at the concession stand, but that's fine.
Yeah.
But I also would like to mention one thing that I did like the like portal in between toy store storage closets. I kind of like that. Because they did have to go to different places over the world. Yeah. So that was kind of like their way of like getting there without having to like do anything crazy, you know. Yeah. So I like that. I liked that little plot twist in there, and getting to see like they played the Christmas musics in like each of the different languages and stuff, which was kind of cool. So that is my final thought. I'm going to give the red one a 7 out of 10.
Okay. For me, kids will like this movie. And some people will. It just was not for me by any means. It won't be for a lot of people. Bad CGI, coupled with, a lot of things that we've seen before not done nearly as well. You have a movie 30 years old that looks better than it. This one's going to be added to the list for me with hot take here, The Polar Express, where it's very skippable every year for me. This probably won't be a Christmas movie I revisit, if at all. I'm going to go flat 4 out of 10.
Okay.
I didn't like much about this movie, unfortunately, other than Chris Evans and a couple lower things here and there. But nonetheless, like you said, I'm not mad that I went and saw it, especially since it was free. Go check it out and form your own opinion on it. Right. But yeah, for me, it's just a comedy cash grab with big names set to the holiday season that will have a lot of people go see it just because it's the holidays.
That's right. Unfortunately, it's true.
But yeah. That'll do it for Red One. Rosie, thank you for coming on.
No problem.
Thank you all for watching. If you like what you're watching, check out some of these other videos, hit the subscribe button, or follow the social links down below. Anything is appreciated. And happy holidays to all. We will talk to you all soon.
Peace and love.